SGC here, and today's first impression is Mind Games Season 1, Episode 1. Directed by Kyle Killen, airing on ABC. Kyle Killen was the creator of Lone Star and Awake. So what's this series about? It's about two brothers who run a problem-solving firm called Edwards and Associates that employs solutions based on psychological manipulation. And it stars Steve Zahn, Christian Slater, Megalyn Echikunwoke, Wyatt Everett, Gregory Marcel, Cedric Sanders, and Jaime Ray Newman. So, as the first episode, it was interesting to see Steve Zahn as the lead. Actually, I was skipping through the episode, checking how long or who was in it, and I was like, oh, it's Christian Slater. Haven't seen him since Breaking In. That was an interesting series, but now it's cancelled, and it was great to see him again. But then I was surprised that Steve was actually the main character. If you don't know Steve, the last movie he was recently in was in Dallas Buyers Club. He was sort of the douchebag friend of Matthew McConaughey. And yeah, it was interesting to see him in a TV series. I don't think I ever saw him in a TV series. But anyway, so Mind Games. So this is pretty psychological for sure. There's a lot of psychological jargon being thrown back and forth. And basically, as the first episode, it sets up the fact that they're a firm that help people or try to do a business through psychological manipulation. And it's interesting tidbits here and there when they explain things, and it's like, whoa, I have no idea what they're talking about, but it's interesting. And I watched the first episode, and it was fine. As the first episode introduced the characters, all their problems, and the initial problem between the two Edward brothers and the firm itself, who's in it and what do they do, and it's interesting. And I think they did a good job in terms of just letting you know a bit of the character, but not a lot. And I think they set up interesting bits of pieces that you would want to watch more just to get to know their characters or what is really going on, like with this firm. Like, how do they justify it, or is it really going to make a difference? I mean, the two brothers, which consists of Clark and Ross. Clark is played by Steve, who's an ex-psychology teacher who suffers from bipolar disorder. Another bipolar series. I mean, recently you have Black Box and now this too. And he's also an expert in human behavior from a psychological perspective. And Christian Slater plays Ross, who's a con man with a criminal record. So they're brothers, so we got a con man and an ex-psychology professor or teacher. And so that was the one thing that was ambiguous about this whole episode, is that the thing that they did was like, I don't think it's legal, but they got away with it, and now they're set up as a firm, but won't they get checked? So it's sort of like the realness of the series is kind of like, yeah. But it's interesting in terms of just psychological jargon that I had no idea. But it's interesting to know that, you know, when you see someone that you like across from you, you tend to blah blah blah, watch the episode and you find out what happens. But anyway, basically as a first episode, it was interesting and intriguing. But like I said, the whole realism thing is sort of like kind of pulls you out of immersion. But beyond that, I think they all play their archetype well, and it's like I said before, it leaves you enough that you want more. Well, for me anyway, I'm gonna probably catch up sooner or later because it's interesting. I mean, just watching people with just like socially problematic relational stuff is interesting to me, because I tend to watch a lot of series with their main protagonists having social issues with the people around them. And it's interesting how to see the people around them cope and how the individual himself or herself deal with the relational problems that they may or may not realize that they have. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this first impression for Mind Games Season 1, Episode 1.